Jimbo said yesterday that at some point while you were in Tuscaloosa, he was going to beat your butt. That wasn't the word that he used, but did you have any response for that?
In golf?
I think he meant on the football field.
Well, I'm sure there'll come a day, you know.
Let's go! Right here in the middle of the damn field! Let's bring it down, Tigers on 3!
Hell yeah!
Because this is our house from now on!
Yes, sir!
Tigers on 3! 1, 2, 3, Tigers!
But I'm going to tell you this, we ain't done yet.
I got to ask you about the message on your shirt.
My favorite holiday of the year, I guess, and so just someone gave me a shirt and Merry Christmas. They spelled it wrong, so it was free.
Coach, it's a great day for you, huh?
That's it's better than average, I'll tell you that. We played LSU because, New England, Green Bay, and the Chiefs had somebody scheduled.
You know what we're going to do, though? We've got to quickly call the Hogs for the race back.
Big Toe! Turn that
The fact you're dressed as Darth Vader, do you feel like you were somewhat of a villain in this fight? I mean, you charged out on the field pretty hard.
I'm trying to get our players off the field, because I know we have a big game next week.
All I want to do is fucking eat! I want you to eat! I want you to eat! I want you to want this shit! Do you want it? Do you want it? Show me!
Oh, welcome in to the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Vols on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, not much, man. Just sitting here sporting my TeePublic that SEC podcast shirt. So check it out. I got the Texas A&M one on today, so head on over. The links in the show notes, and if you're watching on YouTube, it's at the bottom there as well. But man, I'm feeling great. We are right around 2 weeks away from, we'll be sitting here in game week previewing these games, and the offseason has just flown by. You know what?
Heck yeah, Actually, I think this is the quickest offseason that I can remember in years past. Of course, maybe I say that every year, but I don't know. I just think coming off last year, going into this season, I've never been more amped up. And I thought it would move a little bit slower, like when you were a kid and you're waiting for Christmas and it felt like it would never get there. That's kind of what it's been here the last couple of weeks. But I'm going to tell you that countdown's really been helping me out, Mike. You counting it down. So what are we on now? Day how many?
Right now we're at day 17 away from the college football, and that does not include the Tennessee opener. So we're really 15 days away from the start of at least Tennessee season.
That's 2 weeks, baby. That's 2 weeks. Some people take 2 week vacation, That's not that far. So 2 weeks and we're going to have real college football. Now it's Tennessee. So just kidding. It should be exciting. I think I'm amped up, but 2 weeks, I'm ready, brother.
Well, absolutely. And, one guy that we know for a fact does not watch college football, even though he makes probably about $20 million a year, and that's old Stephen A. Smith, because he had to talk about LaMichael Perine, of course, the outstanding Florida Gators running back. Now he's with the Jets, so Stephen A.'s got to pretend he knows who he is. Let's kick it on over to Stephen A.
Yeah, forgive me if I don't pronounce the name correctly. I'm just reading. I don't know. I apologize if I don't pronounce it correctly. LaMichael Perine or Perrin?
All right, Shane, as soon as I saw this clip, I was thinking, Shane's bad with names, but he's never butchered one quite like this.
No, man, that's horrible. LaMichael Perine. No, I thought it was funny because Stephen A. Smith, you remember when he did the punter and he was talking about all the quarterbacks some team had, and I guess apparently one of the punters threw a pass, so he I guess he looked at the stats and just called out that they had 3 quarterbacks on the team when they actually only had 2, and the punter just threw the ball one time. So Stephen A. Smith, just sometimes he just needs to stay in his lane, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, hey, speaking of that, Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri, we got, we don't have an update from the team necessarily, but I did want to bring this to the attention of Missouri fans because I thought this would be something that, of course, if they hadn't seen already, they're going to get fired up about. But the nation's #1 receiver, Shane, he's a recruit there from East St. Louis, right in the neighborhood there of Columbia, Missouri. Luther Burden. He'd been committed to Oklahoma for a little while, publicly announced his decommitment, and this comes after multiple visits to Missouri. Now, I know Missouri's not the only one after him. Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, all those SEC programs are after Luther Burden. But, there's a lot of speculation that Missouri may be closing in on, just a 5-star receiver, the nation's #1 receiving prospect. And hand it to Eli, man. He's pretty sly on this social media. He got him a new 5-star ride. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's throwing this out there, but he threw this 5-star out for a reason. Check it out here if you're watching on YouTube. We're showing Eli Drinkwitz's new Mercedes. But, man, it's pretty exciting times if you're a Missouri football fan, don't you think?
Yeah, and them new kicks, man. Look at them. I think he just wore them for that picture, man. This is the new age of college football, man. And you think of a team like Mizzou. This could be your program. The #1 recruit, wide receiver, he could be the face of your franchise, if you will. So I think that's what Eli. I don't know if they're intertwined here or not, but it was a hell of a move the same day that he decommitted from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Well, Shane, hey, before we go around the league, we got some great comments from all across the SEC. I thought, with these training camps, believe it or not, they're winding down already. Tennessee just had their second scrimmage. We're going to talk about it in just a moment here. But I've got a list of about 10 newcomers across the SEC that, that I'm hearing buzz about in training camp and some of these names made themselves known in spring football as well. And it's just carried over to training camp. So you ready to talk about some breakout candidates in the SEC?
Oh, my gosh. I thought you'd never ask. This is my favorite topic going into fall. So, yes, let's talk about the breakouts. We should have like an intro for this thing.
Thanks for assigning me more work, brother.
Oh, no intro. That's your intro.
All right, starting at Alabama, I think this is a name, no surprise to the Crimson Tide fans after he was such a standout in the spring game, but freshman receiver Ajay Hall, and I think he is someone, based on what I'm hearing, is going to make an instant impact for the Alabama Crimson Tide and Bill O'Brien's system down there. So, you still got John Mechie, you still got Billingsley, the outstanding tight end, but there's a lot of catches and plays to be made on that Alabama offense this season, and I think the freshman Ajay Hall is going to slide right in there, may even start for the Crimson Tide before long. So he's the one I'm really hearing about, along with not really a newcomer, but someone we've yet to see on the field. I keep hearing a ton about Trey Sanders, and as he finally is looking healthy heading into a season, look for Sanders and Ajay Hall to be two breakout candidates for the Crimson Tide.
What kind of, just curious, I've heard the name Hall, but I've not watched any film on him. So what kind of tangibles is he? What kind of size is this guy? Is he more of a slot receiver, or is he a big time, outside threat, or what's he look like?
Yeah, he kind of, I hate to even throw these comparisons because people think now I'm saying this guy's going to be a, NFL performer, all SEC, but he kind of reminds me of AJ Green, like a tall, lengthy receiver that, he can beat you with speed, certainly, but I don't think speed is necessarily his game. More of a weapon. You're going to throw the ball up to him, and he's going to be the one that comes down with it.
Man, you hear all them Tide fans moving to the edge of their seat right now. They got AJ Green on that team. What?
Exactly. I mean, it's hard to put those kind of comparisons on a freshman. You know what?
Love it.
Now for the Arkansas Razorbacks, one guy that I keep hearing great things about, running back AJ Green. Running back. Wait,
is that his name?
I swear I did not make the comparison with Hall because of this, but yeah, he's from I believe he's from Oklahoma. They really need a number 2 running back to emerge there, and not only do I think that could be Green, but he's going to make an impact on special teams as a returner too, I believe. So if you're an Arkansas Razorback fan looking for a number 2 behind Traylon Smith, I think that guy is going to be Green.
Okay. Now, I don't want to compare him to anybody, but I mean, are we talking a
Man, I don't got
guy?
a comparison for every one of these guys, but
I know, but I mean,
he's a speed demon. I mean, I think he ran like a 10.8 100 meters. I mean, this guy is quick as hell.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Just like a quick. We don't need the whole story, Mike. We just need a synopsis of what you're talking about. Is this kid shifty, or is he going to run people over? That's what I want to know.
I got you. No, and I think that's just going to make him a natural fit for this offense that goes quick as hell. You know what?
Yeah, man. Pass catcher. Just throwing that out. Huh?
We'll find out.
Okay. All right.
All right. Auburn. Now, I think this is someone we've been hearing a ton about.
AJ Green.
No, sir. The Vanderbilt transfer, Donovan Kaufman. So he played some safety there for Vanderbilt before he went down to injury. Now it sounds like he's going to shift inside, maybe be a nickel back. But I think he's really got a leg up, so to speak. Already playing for Derek Mason. He's going to know multiple positions in that secondary. I expect to see Donovan Kaufman on the field immediately for the Auburn Tigers. And while he's not a true freshman, he's only played, I believe, 2 games at Vanderbilt, but still a newcomer for the Tigers. And I think he might be one of their better players in the secondary this year.
Yeah, the only phone call Derek Mason made when he left. So,
all right, how about this name? Let's I've been hearing so much buzz about Georgia receiver A.D. Mitchell, waiting for there's balls to be caught now with Pickens out and Arik Gilbert. We don't know his status, if he's going to play to start the season or if at all. So Georgia's got plenty of options, but A.D. Mitchell is a guy that going back to spring and now coming into training camp, just hearing so much about. This was a guy that Lane Kiffin found, and they got him. I think they had him committed at one point, but when Kirby picks up the phone and his University of Georgia, I believe they were able to steal him away from the Ole Miss Rebels, and that had to have broken Lane Kiffin's heart that day. You know what?
Oh, yeah. He got an alert when he found out. He's like, wait, Kiffin's after who? Sign him up. Get him on the phone.
All right, for the Kentucky Wildcats, I mean, there's really only one option here, and we've talked about this guy at length, but he's lived up to the billing, and that's got to be Wan'Dale Robinson, the transfer in from Nebraska, where, I think this is going to be a deal where, I don't want to put too much praise on him, but I think he's going to lead the team in catches and receiving yards and total yards. And I mean, he's going to play all over the field, and if he's utilized properly, I think he's going to be an all SEC type performer for the Kentucky Wildcats in their new offense.
Okay. So, jack of all trades. Now, is this a big guy, small guy? What? Anything?
He's kind of a smaller, shiftier. He's going to be a slot receiver, which is something they desperately need there in Lexington right now.
I like it.
All right, how about LSU? 2 guys standing out here, both from the same position. We've talked at length about Mason Smith, so I thought that was a little bit too obvious. The freshman that's wearing number 0 on the defensive line. So I didn't want to go with Mason Smith, even though I'm hearing good things. But Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, where I think they're 2 receivers where, LSU's got Keyshawn Butte, who may be one of the best receivers in the country this year. But and while they have guys like Jeray Jenkins behind them, they really need some other guys to step up if they're really going to go back to the Joe Brady style offense to where they can go 4 and 5 wide at all times. They need some of these young guys to step up. They brought in about 4 or 5 freshman receivers, and according to what I'm hearing, Neighbors and Thomas here are the best of the bunch. So I think they're going to get a lot of run this year in Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder what kind of NIL deals Butte's receiving down there. I mean,
plenty on Instagram, if I had to guess. You know what? All right, jumping down to South Carolina. Of course, we've mentioned this name a number of times, but I really like to not go completely off hype, but go off, what's happening on the practice field and buzzing the facility there. And everything I'm hearing, E.J. Jenkins, the 6'7" receiver / tight end, is living up to the hype. And now that it looks like Jason Brown may be the starting quarterback week 1 for the South Carolina Gamecocks here, he's obviously already played with E.J. Jenkins. So I think E.J. Jenkins is a guy that's really going to live up to the hype for the Gamecocks this season.
Did you say 6'7"?
Yes, sir. He's a beast. He's a legit 6'7". I don't know how you're going to stop him near the red zone. You know what?
Man, I'll tell you what, Luke, when he gets back out there, he's got him a target, don't he?
All right, this one's for you.
Hell, you can't overthrow that one.
All right, this one's for you, Shane. Tennessee Vols. 2 guys here. Byron Young, the pass rusher. Continue to hear great things. We just had Ben McKee on the show last week talking up, everything that we saw in the spring. That has translated to the fall. So look for Byron Young to be, Tennessee's probably their best pass rusher this season. And then the guy that we didn't get to see in the spring, but comes with a ton of hype and has lived up to it from all indications, is the running back, Tyon Evans. Number 1 rated junior college running back. The running back coach, Jerry Max, out here saying he kind of reminds him of Terrell Davis, the former Georgia legend that, of course, went on to become NFL MVP. So, certainly when you get that type of praise from your position coach, Tyon Evans is the real deal.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot. Of course, obviously, I've seen these videos, but I've seen a lot of hot videos coming out from this kid. So he's looking pretty damn good, Mike.
All right, 2 more. Texas A&M. Continue to hear the buzz about Euclid Brown. I was on Texags last week and said the same thing, and then they were saying he was starring at practice this week. So Texas A&M needs a speedy receiver on the outside to emerge this season. They do have Caleb Chapman coming back. They've got Demas, the former 5-star. So they've got some options. But the one that I continue to hear standing out is Euclid Brown. So he was not he was a 4-star, but he was not one of the highest rated guys they signed in the last class. But look for him to make an impact immediately for the Aggies, and that would just be huge for the new quarterback they got coming in. Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, Vanderbilt, Alan Wright, a defensive back, and he's going to return kicks as well for the Commodores. And he is actually the younger brother of Mike Wright, the quarterback. So I'm hearing a lot of good things about Alan Wright, and we all know Vanderbilt, they're going to need some of these guys they just signed to come in and make an instant impact. And look for Alan Wright to see the field early and often there in Nashville.
Especially at kick returning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right, Shane, but hey, that's enough about me spieling about some breakout players. You ready to kick it around the league?
Let's do it.
Now let's go around the league.
My daughters said something about me wearing a visor and need to put on a hat because I'm getting bald. So I'm going to wear a hat from here on out.
I mean, if you look over the next 6 years, I think we played Miami 3 times, Florida State 6 times, South Florida 3 times, Mississippi State once. So who's the SEC teams? I think it's an injustice for the kids. We should mix those games up, and you should, play more teams from the West.
Why don't you start calling around and see if you can get somebody else to play us, and we'll play them. We'll play anybody you can get to play us.
In Louisiana, hold on a second. Hey guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
All right, Shane. So starting here, of course, in South Carolina, where, man, we've had an interesting couple of days here in Columbia. We just saw, if you missed it, Luke Doty's, he's met with the media. We'll kick it over to him in just a moment. But he came in on one of those scooters with his leg in a cast. And, I hope he can see the field as soon as possible. But I don't know. I'm not seeing him playing week 1 if he's right now on a scooter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to keep the positive vibes and the positive thinking going, but man, it's tough to see that in 2 weeks.
Right. So what have the Gamecocks done? They've gotten pretty creative here, Shane. I don't know that I've ever heard of this in a training camp. I'm sure it's happened before, but they took a graduate assistant, a member of the coaching staff, took his whistle off, gave him pads and a helmet, and said, "Get your ass out there." So they have Zeb Noland is this guy's name. He was a GA. Now he's on the football team as a quarterback. He was at North Dakota State. Previously, he was the backup to Trey Lance, who's now with the 49ers, first-round pick, and he was previously at Iowa State. So, I mean, just a wild story. You know what?
Yeah, this is straight out of Armadillo's playbook here. I'd be calling him Sinbad. He was up there teaching. They're like, hell, you got another year eligibility. Come on down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is only an option because of last year and the free year of eligibility, you know what? So I don't know how this works out, but I would certainly assume that this is just in a break glass in case of an emergency type quarterback. But hell,
well, let me ask you, Mike, is it? Is it? I mean, the fact that you would even go through, like, if you in the back of your mind thought Doty was going to come back in 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, would you really get a grad assistant? A helmet, just put down the clipboard, get out here and start slinging the rock. I mean, are you panicking, or are we just overthinking this thing?
I just think it's a wild story, and they need some arms in camp because, I mean, all indication, Jason Brown, I know he's coming up from the FCS level, but I don't think, he's terrible or anything like that. And all the buzz on the true freshman, Colton Gutier, is positive. So but they got nothing behind that. I mean, they got a couple walk-ons behind those guys. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is and they've got Takarion Joyner, who's a receiver now, but now he's taking quarterback reps. But I think the fact that they're moving receivers over, they're moving grad assistants over, I think they're just, really protecting themselves in case of some catastrophic injuries here in the first couple of weeks of the season. But if nothing else, I mean, I hate to even say this. We're going to get to Luke Doty here in just a second, but this leads me to believe that, he may not be back very soon because if he's back in a week or two, I don't understand why you're pulling this move.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So let's kick it over to Shane Beamer, who kind of breaks down this decision. And then we also got Luke Doty here on him trying to get back for week one and what all entails with that.
And I'm sure the big topic of conversation is the new quarterback that was out there. Zeb Noland was practicing with us today, as you saw. I've known Zeb for a long time. He arrived here in June as a graduate assistant coach with eligibility still remaining. So as a graduate assistant, you're able to practice with the team, and that's what he did today. I saw Zeb 2018, Oklahoma, and Kyler Murray and CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Hollywood Brown. And that squad that we had there in 2018 rolled into Ames, Iowa, and had a shootout against Zeb Noland and the Iowa State Cyclones. I think it was 37-27 or something like that. Back and forth game. Zeb's dad's a high school coach over in Georgia, known him for a long time. He transferred from Iowa State, went to North Dakota State. He was Trey Lance's backup, the first-round pick of the 49ers. He's got great experience. And most importantly, he has played in a football game a heck of a lot more recent than anybody else on this team. North Dakota State had a spring football season in the playoffs. Obviously, they typically go a long, long way in the playoffs. So while our guys were going through spring practice, Zeb was actually playing in games. This is something that we've been talking about, the possibility of potentially doing for a while. It wasn't like we weren't discussing it before Luke got hurt. We were, just from a depth standpoint. It's not a reflection of our quarterback room at all. Fact of the matter is, I would say most college football programs in the country, I don't know, I haven't called every single program, but I can't imagine any of them are practicing with only 3 quarterbacks right now. I know last.
Hey, Luke, after Saturday's scrimmage, Shane said there was a sprain. Can you talk about the initial diagnosis and kind of what happened in those first 24 hours, what they initially were telling you?
Yeah, I mean, it is a midfoot sprain, and that's pretty much it. The recovery time is pretty good. It's definitely we got definitely a positive outlook on everything. So right now I'm just doing everything I can to get healthy and hopefully be back for week 1.
Luke, as far as that goes, what does kind of the next few weeks look like you in terms of for you in terms of rehab, and what do you feel like you kind of have to do in terms of to get back to 100% and be ready week 1?
I mean, definitely not rush anything, obviously. Just every day, just trying to do something to to get healthy, to get back in shape. Obviously, I'm in a boot and rolling around on a scooter, but that won't be for long. Another few days in this, and then it'll be full go on the rehab, and just like I said, doing everything I can to make sure I'm healthy and that I'm ready to go, both physically and mentally.
All right, Shane. So if nothing else, man, let's give him credit for being creative down here in Columbia. And I just cannot wait for what the next week's going to bring, because it's just one storyline after another down there. You know what?
Yeah, I like it, man. I mean, it is a fun story, and if they spin it right, these kids are going to be fine. Again, there's not crazy expectations on South Carolina, and that makes for a dangerous team if you ask me. If you're coming in like, if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. They have nothing to lose, so that makes them dangerous every Saturday. So, yeah, give it to Shane getting creative here.
All right, Shane. Next, let's staying in the SEC East. Let's kick it on down to Kentucky, where, of course, Will Levis won the starting quarterback job. We all know that by now. But for the first time, he spoke to the media here in Lexington, and we had Liam Coen, the offensive coordinator, who, not long after he got hired at Kentucky, they were hitting the portal and grabbing Will Levis. So, all indications, this was his hand-picked guy. And I think, based on what we're hearing out of Lexington and some of these clips we're seeing of Levis throwing the ball, that, they really seem to have confidence in their guy under center. And it's kind of like what you were talking about last time you were on the show, Shane, where, now this lingering question is no longer there. We know where all the reps are, and it's Will Levis's team. And I think, for whatever reason, this has just given me a lot more reason for optimism that Kentucky is going to have a really solid season. What about you?
Oh, my gosh, Mike. I know how Kentucky fans feel. I had a quarterback that couldn't throw for 3 years, and now you've got the University of Kentucky, finally, the buzz. I've got a lot of Kentucky followers, and I see it on my feed, and there's a lot of buzz coming from Lexington right now, mainly about their quarterback. They've got a guy that can grip and rip back there. So there's a lot of optimism, and you can just feel it. The fans are excited. They're ready for a new chapter in the Big Blue Nation up there.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's kick it over to Liam Coen, the offensive coordinator, who talked about the decision to go with Will Levis. And then Levis himself spoke about winning the job and what he needs to improve upon now that he is the team's starting signal caller.
I think just Will's work ethic and the way he came in and ran the show. I think that his personality is one of which that guys kind of naturally follow. And I think that obviously you guys can see some of the arm strength talent and some of the things that he can do throwing the football. Now he's got to clean up some of the plays that, he hasn't repped as much and hasn't gotten a ton of reps at. But I do think that right now he gives us the best chance to win.
You talked before about you found at Penn State you kind of got pigeonholed into being a running quarterback. What did you see on film or whatever to convince you the arm strength was there and that you could do that?
Yeah, I really just kind of went back and watched some of his film from the year before when he did get the opportunities to throw the ball and not be worried about getting pulled or things like that. It really kind of referenced the Nebraska game. When in the second half, he led those guys back from a couple-point deficit and gave them a chance to win and made some plays in those situations that I thought could translate to this level and to our offense, and figured to give it a chance.
Were you surprised the decision came that early?
No, I think that their reasoning for it made a lot of sense, whoever the decision was with the new offense and just the need to get as many reps as possible before this first game. We were kind of shuffling around the ones reps, and it was kind of time to lock down who was going to be taking those ones throughout the rest of camp. So I think the decision was made at the right time, and I wasn't too surprised about it.
Well, now that you have the job,
What do you want to work on? Where do you need to get better between now and September 4th?
Just being a leader for the team and learning how to connect with all the guys the best way possible. Everyone's going to be led effectively differently, and it's just kind of, obviously since I'm new here, I've spent these last few months getting to know these guys, but it's going to take a lot of effort to really get their trust and show that I can lead them effectively in whatever situation we find ourselves in.
All right, Shane, and then one final thing here on Kentucky that, I think this goes to everything that we're saying here, but Darren Kennard, their outstanding offensive lineman, passed on the NFL to come back and improve his stock and, help Kentucky kind of right the ship on that offensive side of the ball. He made it very clear that, after spending the last couple of seasons at right tackle and being outstanding, maybe the nation's best run blocker, he really wanted to prove himself at left tackle because we all know in the NFL that's where you're getting, a bigger paycheck than the right tackle. Yet Kentucky added Dare Rosenthal from LSU, who was starting at left tackle. And, just here a couple weeks after landing Rosenthal, Kentucky is going with Rosenthal to be a left tackle, and they've kicked Kennard back to right tackle. And there doesn't seem to be any drama. Kennard is fully on board with that decision. But I think it speaks to, the culture and the team and the program that Mark Stoops has down there that, basically your star player is not doing maybe exactly what he envisioned, what he had in mind to help his stock. He's making a decision for the best of the team. And, again, I just think this is a really great sign for the Wildcats.
Yeah, no, I think so too, man. I mean, do you want to be a good left tackle or do you want to be one of the best right tackles in the country? I think that's the conversation they probably had. And who knows, sticking around may help his draft stock, even if he is on the right side of the line.
Mm-hmm. All right, Shane, next let's kick it on down to Baton Rouge, where one guy we cannot wait to see on the field this year, John Emery. Keep talking up. Is this the year for old John Emery, the former 5-star? He's got all the talent in the world, but it's his time to shine. They keep hyping up the freshmen, Corey Kiner and Amari Goodwin. And now, what does that say about John Emery? I don't know. But, one thing about these young running backs, every time they come into college, it certainly seems like, there's so much buzz on them in practice and their ability. Mm-hmm. But the coaches often don't trust them in pass protection. That is just so critical at this level. I mean, you cannot play against some of these SEC teams with their exotic blitzes and all that if you cannot be trusted to protect the quarterback. And that's something that John Emery said that Kevin Falk, of course, the legendary LSU and New England Patriots running back has really been working on with him. And then even better, I thought, LSU fans, this is the key stuff here. Jake Peets, the new offense coordinator, of course, coming from the Carolina Panthers, he says John Emery is going to be his new Christian McCaffrey. So let's kick it over to John Emery.
You talked about motivation earlier and route running and everything. Max mentioned yesterday that he has seen you working with Coach Falk on your route running and even watching linebackers come down and pass blocking and everything. Can you talk a little bit about that and also how that motivates you and how that has set you apart maybe in the running back room with your pass pro?
Well, Coach Falk, he's been in the game. He was in the game for a long time. He's always giving great advice, as far as pass protection and, running routes. He did that. He was that type of back. He was an all-around back as well. And, he understands it. That's the advantage of having a coach that actually played football and, that actually has the feel of things. As far as I feel like just from my past 2 years, my pass protection has gotten way better than the last 2 years. And, as far as my route running, and also just not Kevin Falk, Coach Falk helping me out as far as with routes, but, the wide receiver coach as far as Coach Carter and, Mickey Joseph, they helping me out as well, But, Kevin Falk, when he played with Tom Brady, was mainly running routes too, you know, and catching the ball in the backfield. And, you know, just with every little thing that I do, he helps out. So,
Coach Peets came from an offense that had Christian McCaffrey. You're talking about wanting to be that all-around type back. Have y'all talked about that, or has he talked about the role that Christian had and what he wants to see from you?
Yes, of course. He, he always brings up Christian McCaffrey, and he showed me a couple of clips of him running the choice route and his runs, and he says I can be just like Christian. He says I kind of remind him as Christian McCaffrey. So, just me. He actually showed me clips of Christian McCaffrey as soon as he came in. And just me seeing that, I just knew it was going to be a perfect fit. And, I actually love, the offense that we have right now. So.
All right, Shane. So this is what you want to hear from your running back who, he's trying to be the next Christian McCaffrey with all the, his pass catching ability and everything that makes Christian McCaffrey such a weapon there out of the backfield that can do so many things. And I understand why they're making this comparison, but you know what it sounds like to me?
What?
The Clydesdale a little bit. I mean, they needed him to do everything. You know what?
That's why I was like, why go with that comparison when you got a first rounder that just left 2 years ago? So, no, I get it. I get it. He's exciting, and that's what we want. That's what we want from LSU. I think that's what got them to the dance 2 years ago. You want a guy that can do a little bit of everything, and that's what they're trying to create with Emery here.
Yeah, when the play breaks down, and it looks like it could be a bust or a turnover or a sack. You just never know. Maybe even a little 2-yard flip, and you turn it into a first down. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what you need for some of your elite playmakers. That's why you get all these 5 stars on your squad, because when you dial up the perfect play and the defense completely blows it up, guys like this have the ability to save the day for you.
Do you think that's what he's having trouble with, though, is the pass protection or making that, that light switch that, hey, I need to get out of the backfield and try to catch a pass?
Yeah, I think that's something that just about all running backs struggle with coming to this level, because I don't think they're doing it in high school. And for the vast majority of them, they don't have to. And even now these days, high school, a lot of it is run by basically Wildcat, because you just want the ball in your best player's hands. And John Emery was certainly the best player every time he was on the field in high school. So I think it's just it really is a massive transition to at times to go to these pro style offenses.
For sure. And you see a lot of this in the NFL too. Mm-hmm. How many times have you been watching a game? You're like, why the hell they still got Mark Ingram in, because he's not going to screw up. Right. He may not be the best athlete in the backfield anymore, but at least, he's not going to leave his quarterback exposed, or he's going to peel out and try to catch a check down pass. That's tough. There's a lot that goes into being, it's not just a running back anymore. It's not like when we were kids, Mike.
No, not without a doubt. All right, Shane, next let's kick it on down to Rocky Top, where the Vols just wrapped up their second scrimmage of training camp. It's going to be the last one before the season opener here, Shane, against Bowling Green on a Thursday night. But, Josh Heupel, according to him, there was some adversity out there, if you want to call it that, with the weather conditions. But I really love the fact that, his message here, they could have went indoors easily, but he likes putting his team through some of these tests. So let's kick it over to Josh Heupel, who talks a little bit about that. And on the quarterback reps, he doesn't want to give away anything here.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I thought this was kind of the highlight of his brief presser here, but on just the strides this team has made since the spring.
The obligatory quarterback question. How do you handicap this thing? When do you want to try to work towards making a decision on a starter? And then because of the rain, do you kind of like that, you can't predict what's going to happen in a game, so this is kind of one of those unpredictable things that gets thrust upon you.
game day you wake up, no matter what the weather report has said throughout the course of the week, you got to play in the elements that you got, and we will play in a rain game. So your mindset, offense, defense, special teams, got to be that this is the right weather for us to go out and execute. It has no bearing on who we are and what we do and how we do it. And I thought we really functioned at a pretty high level on that side of it. Quarterback battle, going to continue to see those guys compete. Obviously, we'll go back later today and have an opportunity to watch the scrimmage. I think those guys have all continued to grow during the course of this 3-day block before we got into our scrimmage today.
Coach, kind of following up on the quarterbacks, have you seen any separation in any of those guys through today or even through the first 2 weeks camp?
When we see separation, we're ready to say something, then I'll come down here and do that. That group has continued to compete and handle things the right way, I like the growth of that group from day to day. But you just look from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage, who they are during the course of the practices leading up to today. That group's continuing to trend and go in the right direction.
I'm assuming you will not have another major scrimmage between now and kickoff. So as you evaluate this, is it about finding starters or is it about finding who can help you the first 3 or 4 weeks of this season, and build from there? What are you looking for in your evaluation?
It's about guys that you trust at this point. They're going to go out and compete the way that you want them to, and I'm just talking about effort, right? And then the ability to reset from play to play, and the guys that understand their alignment, assignment, and can communicate out there on the football field. It's never just about 11 guys, man. It's about as many guys that are going to prove that they're going to play at a high enough level to help you go win. And finding roles for those guys, and that's offense, defense, and special teams. And today, right, is probably our last major scrimmage, but it's not the last piece of their development before we go out and play. We got to continue to push and strain here as we lead up to kickoff.
How much better do you feel about the number of people you can trust now compared to a week ago, compared to a month ago, 6 months ago?
I think there's been tremendous growth in this football team. You look at where we finished spring ball, and then the guys that we've gotten back from injury, the guys that have been brought in through the transfer portal, the development of some of our young guys. We're a much deeper football team than we were. That shows up on offense and defense. It shows up in your ability to play on special teams too. Our young guys are continuing to take strides that make you feel like they have an opportunity to go out there and play September 2nd and play at a really high level too.
All right, Shane. So Coach Heupel keeping it keeping things coy here without a doubt, but I just continue to like the message that he is setting out there. Just it's refreshing because it seems like they have a football coach that knows what the hell he's doing. And then if you compound that with recent comments from the players and specifically I'm thinking of the receivers the other day, just keep touting playing in this offense. I think these players are really buying into their coach.
Yeah, man, that's what you want. I mean, this is a rebuild. We know that, but we got some great talent on that roster right now, and we, to get the most out of them, you got to have these kids play for each other. And there shouldn't be a whole bunch of eyes on that. They got to be a team this year, and it looks like you said, they're coming out, and you're hearing the same message, and that tells me that the locker room is right.
Hey, my fucking camera turned off again.
Oh, God.
I said it was getting too hot. Can I call you back in just a couple minutes?
Yeah, why not?
All right, probably a weird edit there. Camera cut off again, but let's kick it on down to Starkville. Where, man, I just really like these comments here from Will Rogers. We love the Pirate Mike Leach, but he never really gives us much to work with. Whereas Will Rogers, completely opposite. I've been saying for a while now, I think he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and you really get a sense of why that is. Not just his talent on the field, certainly that's the key to it, but just how competitive he is, and he doesn't give a damn how many quarterbacks they bring in to compete with. He's gonna, he'll battle with any of them, and he'll even battle on the ping pong table.
Leach said that it was you and obviously Chance competing for that starting job. What's it like competing for a starting job when your roommate's the other guy that you're kind of going against?
It's awesome. We compete in everything we do. I was just asking him, did they ask you who the best ping pong player was at the house? That's what we do every night. Me, him, and Austin live together, and we compete in everything you do. So, you know.
Are you the best ping pong player in the house?
100%.
Really?
100%.
Do you beat them both pretty badly, or?
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing the way I do those guys. But you know, like foot on the throat all times. You know, no mercy for these guys.
How much more do you feel like you've learned this offense having a full, pretty normal off season?
Yeah, you know, I feel like it's going really well. You know, kind of just like I've been saying, this offense is just repetition. You know, we're not going to change what we do. You know, execution just has to be there. So, you know, just getting even more reps. You know, I got some reps last year, got my feet wet kind of, but, you know, we're coming this year.
How much of has there been a chip on your shoulder this kind of off season heading into it? Because even going back from the spring game, Mike saying that it's an open quarterback competition. How much of a chip do you have on your shoulder, and how much does that kind of fuel your competitiveness?
I mean, even without him saying that, I still have a chip on my shoulder no matter what. That's who I am, and that's who I always will be. You know, we play at Mississippi State. You know, we're not Alabama, we're not Clemson or whoever. And so, you know, we always have a chip on our shoulder in everything we do.
All right, Shane. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but, you know, I just get a real sense of, you know, just this guy's kind of command and leadership, and he's the son of a coach. His dad was his high school coach down there in the state of Mississippi, and, you know, I think this is their guy, man. I think they should just name him the starter, but I think more than anything, this is Mike Leach just playing his mind games with his quarterback.
Yeah, I think so. But when they do announce it and they make it official, you know, Coach Leach is going to be right behind him, 110%. He's going to back his guy. And I like this, man. I like this side of your quarterback. He's a competitor, man. He competes in everything. So that's the guy I want leading my team.
And final thing, this is just great. I mean, we can all relate to this. How excited is Will Rogers for the season opener? He said he may cry running out there on the tunnel. I thought this was great.
You got Louisiana Tech coming in, home opener. It's going to be more of a normal season this year. How eager are you to get out there in front of 60,000 cowbells?
That's all I can think about. You know, going to sleep every night, that's the only thing I can think about is just running out, just hearing those for the first time. I mean, I might tears of joy coming out of that dang tunnel. I might cry coming out of there. I'm going to be so happy.
All right, final thing here, Shane. Let's kick it on down real quick to Arkansas, where, again, you know, not a lot of people are going to sit around and talk special teams on a podcast like this, but Arkansas's got one of the better ones in the SEC when it comes to special teams coordinator in Scott Fountain, who most know this, but maybe some don't. He was the special teams coordinator down there at Auburn during the Kick Six. So, I mean, this guy's been in the SEC a long time, and that's one thing where Arkansas, you know, for all the strides we saw last year, I think overall the special teams, I mean, at times they were just dreadful. And he talks about, you know, he's not making excuses or anything, but he just, you know, really pointed to the COVID year and how that, you know, affected the special teams coaches across the country. And then, you know, much like Sam Pittman, people probably, this is going to be the most talked about kicker we've ever had on this show. But Razorback freshman Cam Little, it sounds like Arkansas got themselves a big-time kicker now.
I guess not just Arkansas, but even nationally. How much did the COVID kind of affect the weekly disruption special teams play overall? And does it make you all more prepared in case this Delta variant, you know, crops up this fall?
I mean, I think we're more prepared with any kind of protocol they come to. But last year, it was kind of my world. You know, we're getting tested on Sunday, I believe, Tuesday and Thursday. So, you know, I might find out on Monday I lose a guy. I might find out on Wednesday I lose a guy. But, I mean, you can imagine preparing all week, and then Friday they come in and tell us 6 guys are out. So, like last year, I believe it was an Auburn game, we lost about 8 guys, and it was really tough. So we're going to that game, and I have a third team, probably fourth team guy that I've worked some at third team that's starting in the game. And those things are tough, you know. But it's also tough for the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator. But for me, if they lose a guy or two on defense or offense, well, that guy I had on teams, I might have lost him on a team because he's got to now play more offense or defense. So there's a little more goes into it on my end. But the protocol of it and the testing and all that, I mean, and the Delta variant, you worry about it, and hopefully they'll get all that under control, you know. But it's different, you know, from anything we've ever done before.
Hey, Sam told us last week that
Cam made I think 57-yarder pressure kick that would have been good from 65. So you mentioned today there was a pressure kick. Who was the kicker, the length, and all that? You said it was good, right?
It was good, but it was good. That particular kick, well, it was Cam a little at the time in that situation. But and when Pittman gets ready to call what we call a tour last second or put it down somewhere and kick it, it's whoever's up in the order at the time. He doesn't really know. He's just going to say, hey, let's make the field goal. And it just happened to be Cam was up first that day. Cam was actually up last today in the rotation, but that's when it occurred. So that's kind of how it rolls. And what we're going to try to do here in a week to 10 days is kind of settle in on who the guy is. Matthew?
All right, Shane. So, again, this is if Arkansas, the big reason why I wanted to play these clips from Scott Fountain was just, I'm not saying anything Arkansas fans don't know, but the special teams were, really bad last year for the most part. And they're going to be in so many games, just like they were last year, that it's going to be a one-score game. Yeah. And more often than not, the Razorbacks are going to be going up in these games against teams that may have better overall talent. And the only chance you're going to have in games like these are if your special teams is a strength, because if they're holding your team back, that's not going to give the Razorbacks many opportunities to pull off some upsets like I think they will this year. So I just think that with Scott Fountain, now we got a kicker in place. We got the pieces there building in Fayetteville to where the special teams can go from a liability to a strength of Sam Pittman's program.
Yeah, just think about where we started, man. And now we're fine-tuning this thing and worried about kickers. Sound like Alabama now.
Exactly. But, hey, that's all I got on this episode, Shane. I do appreciate you hopping on the line. And you got anything else before we hop off here?
No, man. 2 weeks away, we're going to have some college football. So I'm ready for that. And I don't know, man. Now that you mentioned how fast the offseason has got, now I feel like this last 2 weeks is going to drag out. So I just want my guys to get bubble wrapped so they don't get hurt. And I'm looking forward to some kick-ass football this year, baby.
Absolutely. And if you made it this far, give us that 5-star written review on the Apple Podcast app. That really helps the show grow, and we give you a free beer koozie just for doing that. Just reach out to us at thatsecpodcast@gmail.com and follow us now on YouTube. We're really growing that thing, so that's just been so much fun spending my time building that thing up. But that's going to do it. That's all I got. I'll catch you on the next one, Shane.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.